Hi everybody, we're back for our new unit. Kitty's all set to go. Well, at least he was. Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what he does after he washes his hands. He may want to take a nap, you never know. Oh, now he's whining. Okay, no, that's the way it goes. Okay, our new unit, and it's actually our last unit of the year. It's a rather large one. We'll have a test Thursday, next Thursday, and the news quiz will be on Friday. That'll be our last news quiz. So a test next Thursday, news quiz Friday, and then the final. All right? This unit is, we're moving into the High Middle Ages and the feudal period. We're going to start with feudalism. Feudalism is a time period in the Middle Ages that you are probably most familiar with in terms of when you conjure up images of the Middle Ages. It would be this time period with the castles and the moats and that type of thing. We talked last time, if you remember, Bryson, do you remember when we left off our last unit? Or Luca? Do you remember? Annie? You guys remember? Isaac? No? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Do I hear someone? Alex, is that you? Somebody said it, yes, that the Vikings started to draw down in power because one of the reasons, I gave you three, one was because of protection. The feudal period deals with that protection. In the feudal period, land is the key. It's all about land. Remember, we're in this rural setting, not an urban setting. We're in the rural setting, and land, we're going to find that land holds the key for survival for people during the feudal period of the early and Middle Ages. Okay? Who owns the land? This is no surprise. The king. We now are interjecting another term for the king that we've used. We've used king forever from Hammurabi on. But now we're using another term in the Middle Ages, especially in Western Europe, and that term is the Lord. So when you hear me talk about the Lord, we intersperse it with king. King and Lord are one of the same. Okay, what they do during this feudal period with land. Land is the key. Feudal period. Lord, king. What happens? What's the big deal? Land is the key. They own the land. They have the money. They make an arrangement, an exchange with what's called the vassal. It's a relationship. It's an oath or contract between, arrow both ways, between the Lord King and what we call the vassal. What it is very simply this. The Lord and King have what? Land. What do they need? I just said it before. Protection. And they need more money the better, right? That's where the vassal comes in. The vassal, with this relationship, this oath, this contract, says, you give me land in your kingdom, you give me land, and I will protect you and provide you with food, money. Okay, food in the form of money. I will produce for your kingdom if you give me land. I'll take care of it all. I will get the workers. I will get everything under you. You have complete control, but I have that control for myself as well. This is a working relationship between the vassal and the Lord. And the plot of land that is given by the Lord to the vassal is called a fief. A fief is a plot of land. Have you ever heard someone's fiefdom? I use that term a lot. Your little fiefdom. It's your own little spot in paradise of sorts. People in Missoula have those everywhere, up the hills and the creeks and everything. In the hood, we don't see that as often. Moira knows. I'm sure Thomas, you're aware of that being in the hood. Ellie up on the hill there in the burnout fire. We just kind of survive. We're just the blue-collar folk. But the fiefs, we see, the fiefdoms we see like in the upper Rattlesnake and that. It's a plot of land that now the vassal controls for the Lord. And what's he going to do in exchange for that land and making revenue off of it? He hires knights. Knights, by our definition, are professional soldiers. What their job is to fight and protect the kingdom. Okay, and we're going to get to specifically what they do and where they live in just a minute. But that's what the knights do. What about the women and the church leaders? They love this arrangement because it's more localized. This is a way that they can outreach the church. Women are going to now stay home and work on that parcel of fiefdom, the plot of land, propping up the vassal and the king, the vassal and the lord. Women are going to support that kingdom. Okay? What's interesting is this. The Lord controls the marriages. The Lord still has that power over all. The reason is because ultimately they're living under his rule, his jurisdiction, and he doesn't want someone from another kingdom, you guessed it, to maybe come in and kind of supersede, intercede, and be kind of a cancer on that parcel, that fief. So the Lord controls it, and of course he's looking at what? Promoting his kingdom. There are three types of people that are now going to work in this fiefdom, in this land. Before we get to that, it's the question of the day of sorts for all of you that are paying attention and watching. And today you're going to be glad you did, because I'm going to show you something. So commercial, you can put your pencil down for a minute, pen. I'm going to show you something you've probably never seen before. I don't know of anyone who has it. I'm very fortunate and lucky. That's another story, but I possess something that's actually illegal from the Marine Mammals Act. If you ever Google that, it deals with polar bears and whales. But I have the jawbone of a whale. So I'd invite you to look up here. And I'm pointing to it. That is the jawbone of a baleen whale. The plankton that the whale exists on, eats, are caught in these comb-like fibers from the jawbone. And they skim out of the water, and that's what provides their nutrient value. Hundreds and hundreds of pounds of plankton they skim constantly. They're constantly moving, of course, and acquiring that nutrition. That is from up in the Bering Sea, in between Russia and Alaska. That's where that particular whale was harvested, and I was given that by the Inuit Eskimo who actually harvested that whale. But that's another story. But just know on a test, if we ask, what's the thing above Mr. Klein's closet? You won't get that in a Google. It's the jawbone of a whale. All right, now let's resume our lesson here. And we left off with the three types of people that are now working on this fief, working on this plot of land. Pretty easy. Those who fought, that would be the knights right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I have knights and then nobles. The nobles would be similar to the vassals. They'd be the leaders of the knights going into battle, protecting their fiefdom. So the nobles and knights are those who fight, okay, the vassals, nobles, okay, for the king. They're fighting for the king to protect his plot of land. Why? Because that's the oath contract that we have established. The second group, those who prayed. We know who that is. Oh, Kitty's now showing more interest. Very good. Okay, thank you for paying attention, Kitty. Hope the rest of you are. Those that prayed would be the priests that are the missionaries and those that live in monasteries, and the nuns that are in the convents. So we have those three groups of people that are praying, and they work in unison supporting this fief. And then we have those who worked. That's the main economic unit here, right? Those that work, they have to work and toil in the fields. We have peasants and serfs that work in the fields. Peasants have more freedom than a serf. Peasants can actually own a part of a fief. They could have maybe a little plot that they could grow their own potatoes on. Okay? They're more independent. Very poor, but more independent. Serfs, on the other hand, we don't call them slaves, but they're slave-like. So SS, slave, serf. Okay? They do not have as much ownership and control. They can actually be bought and sold. And serfs are tied to the fief. They're tied to the lord, the king, the plot of land. They actually stay generally with, even though they can be sold and traded, they generally stay with the land. They're part of the land. Like I have this many trees, I have this many serfs working the land. It would come with the land, come with the fief. The serf's life is very, very harsh and challenging. We'll get to that in another day. Oh, Kitty, you want to help out here? Good. The peasants obviously have a very, very challenging life as well. But at least they have some freedom. Okay? The economic unit, like I said, land is the key. The economic unit, where it's all for, what do we all work for? What do we work to protect? The manor, the estate. The manor would be like the castle, if you will. That's the manor. That's the unit. The economic unit is the manor for the Lord King. And the reason is because of this. We moved away from government as an institution. The unit of government is really not in existence now. It's self-sufficiency in the manor. Most people during this time period are born, live, and die on the manor in the early feudal period of the Middle Ages. They do not travel. You don't get on the jet plane. You don't go, in the big city and check it out. You are on the manor your entire life. Certainly the peasants and serfs are the only people generally that would move away. On rare occasion would be the knights when they're fighting. But keep in mind, they are there primarily to protect the manor. So it isn't that they're going off to conquer new lands. They're protecting the manor. You come on our manor, estate, our kingdom, then we'll fight you. That is one of the reasons why we see the Germanic tribes and the Vikings going down, because now these manors are protected. Roll up the drawbridge, etc. Okay, and the knights, Sir Lancelot. We'll get to that a little later as well, how one becomes a knight. Pretty cool stuff. But just know that they even stay within the confines of the kingdom as well. They don't travel around like Alexander the Great and his men. Okay? So we're seeing a very rural, self-sufficient, very close-knit group of people. How do you think a plague or a pandemic would work in this situation? Can you say the Black Plague? Everybody's living close like this? Could be trouble, huh? That's going to be another time. Hope everything's going well. Love you guys. Miss you. Have a great weekend. Take good notes.